Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and we're going really old with this one. You longtime viewers might remember, well, I was going to phrase this one way, but let's just cut the crap. When Wizards used to actually put the lore on the web so people could read it for free instead of paywalling it in a book. But anyway, besides that, you may remember the wonderful series unofficially called Des Completely and Utterly Obliterates the Lore. It was a parody series where I would read, and I use that term loosely, the lore chapters and then put my own little spin on it. For example, did you know that the entire conflict between all the different factions on Ixalan was over cinnamon? You do if you watch my version of the lore. This series actually started with my ridiculously just over-the-top stupid video where I was kind of parodying people who say, well, this and this and this, so this must be this, and I'm going to absolutely stand by it, and then they're perpetually wrong. So I was like full-blown conspiracy nut. Like, these letters mean this, and if you rearrange this, then it means that. And this thing in the background of this image that they released for this new set is going to mean this, and then the color means this, and so obviously that. And we ended up with Jace taking off in a spaceship that the Westvale built in their Westvale space program, I believe it was, and then landed on the moon and became Space Jace. And you know what? With the way the lore actually went, was I really that far off? I mean, somebody went to the moon. Spoiler alert! So, well, they decided to post at least a, what's going on Zendikar kind of lore breakdown today on Daily MTG, and I love it. I'm only about halfway through it, and I'm like, one, awesome, I finally know what's going on, kind of. They still didn't really give a context of, what happened in Rise of the Eldrazi or whatever, then what happened on, BFZ, then what's happening now. I'm still confused about what's what. But confused about the lore funnels very easily into making fun of the lore. So here is my very, very super accurate and not at all parody version of Zendikar. Things have changed. And you know what? You've changed too. I want a divorce. So first, we've got the Royal. Zendikar's terrain is racked with violent and erratic changes. The land itself seems alive in its surface, and botanical life sometimes writhe as though in pain, causing tectonic chaos, extreme weather, and, oh, pardon me, I said that wrong, extreme weather. Brought to you by Mountain Dew. Get on that surfboard and ride those 300-foot waves. Oh, and also sudden destruction. Waves of geological upheaval sometimes wash across the world, leaving nothing unchanged in their wake. All this volatility, hey, I said it right in the fourth take, is collectively referred to as the Royal. That's R-O-I-L. God, I almost spelled it wrong. No, people are like, the Royal what? R-O-I-L, not R-O-Y-A-L. Oh my gosh, get it right, Des. It's very important that the lore in this video is 100% accurate, not exaggerated or changed in any way. The viewers are counting on you, damn it! So the Royal always seemed to be a natural phenomenon, a peculiar characteristic perhaps tied to its unique mana. The Hedrons, which seriously, what are the Hedrons? Somebody tell me what the hell the Hedrons are. Are they natural? Were they made? Was it all Nahiri's thing? Did they come with the plane? Was it a 2-for-1 special on Black Friday? Did they invent them just to fight the Eldrazi? Did they make use of existing ones? I don't get it! But it could also just be the fierce ecology of the plane that's causing the Royal. But Planeswalkers recognize this volatility as what kept Zendikar dangerous and untamed, free of large cities, sophisticated commerce, and other trappings, excuse me, what? Of well-developed civilizations. Ooh, society and corporations in cities bad. I'm actually surprised that the liberals over at Wizards of the Coast would write that. Then again, I'm pretty sure the right and the left both absolutely hate corporations, so... Depends how you look at it. So basically, if your cities and encampments keep getting wiped out, you might as well just not even build them in the first place and just live in nature. I guess that's what they're going with. So that's how Zendikar was. But during the rise of the Eldrazi, the Royal intensified, and it soon became clear that the Royal was Zendikar's own effort to purify itself of corruption. Then why did it keep happening before the Eldrazi showed up? What threat was there? Does the plane collectively think that society and culture and intelligent life is a bad thing? Well, we're hitting dangerous levels of tree-hugging hippie on this one. So like an inflammation that persists after the infection is gone, the Royal remains even after the destruction of the Eldrazi. Then why did it show up the first time, and why did it happen before the Eldrazi showed up? You're making no sense. And it remains one of the greatest hazards to adventurers who brave the wilds of Zendikar. Unless, of course, they show up when the Royal isn't going on. Which it sounds like is most of the time, so that is completely inaccurate. That is... The Chamber of Commerce and the Board of Tourism are going to have some words about whoever wrote that. So the Royal only happens on the ground, basically, and in the ocean. So they say while the Royal maintains its course down below, something peculiar has occurred up above. Massive ruins now float in the sky, full of traps and treasure, called skyclaves by the Expeditionary Houses. These floating fortresses have an ancient history. So this is where I get very confused. Are they referring to now? Are they referring to the last time we were on Zendikar, or the last time we were on Zendikar, or before the first time we were on Zendikar? Because it could be any of them, and you'll see why I'm confused in a bit. Those next section starts with long ago, centuries before the arrival of the Eldrazi. The British built an empire. Oh, pardon me, I misread that. The core built an empire. Driven originally by a desire to see the world united in peace and harmony, the empire too quickly grew into an authoritarian state where the core imposed their own ideals of law and structure upon the unwilling peoples of the other continents. And they just happened to be the whitest on the plane. What a coincidence that Wizards of the Coast wrote that. But seriously, the British Empire was terrible. Oh wait, there was other white people on the planet that weren't terrible. Oh shit. But we're not talking about Earth, we're talking about Zendikar. Even though we're clearly talking about Earth. So this imposition bred resistance among their subjects as they met with increasing resistance to their rule, and they became more oppressive and tyrannical because they're white as If you're not familiar, the core are literally bleach-ass white. That's why Nahiri looks like that chick from Farscape, I think it was. Same hairstyle even, I mean, come on. The great capital of Makindi, which gave its name to the court, what? So the capital city was Makindi, which gave its name to the core empire. Okay, you've lost me. Was it the Makindi Empire or was it the Core Empire? You can't just say the great city of Makindi is what they named their empire after, and they named it the Core Empire. What does that mean? Anyway, now we're in Andu too, so that we need more names. This region is now called the Makindi Trenches. Sure, why not? But to maintain the Empire's hold over the world, Core Stoneforgers built the 7 Skyclaves. Oh, they built them. I missed that on the first read by there, so that's actually important. You should remember that. Wait, if the Core built the Hedrons, and the Hedrons were their invention, so that's how the cities could fly, but they built the Sky Cities to avoid the Royal on the ground, and the Royal was suspected to potentially occur on the plane naturally because of the Hedrons, which weren't built yet at the time that they built the Sky Fortresses to get away from the Royal. You can see why we've got a problem there. I'm just going to call this Des finds Hedrons confusing. That's going to be the title of this video. Anyway, there were 7 Skyclaves, military bases, government headquarters, and small cities that floated in the sky above each continent. And even though there was then obviously 7 continents, this clearly is not the British Empire. It's the Core, or the Makindi, or the Andu. I don't know. The Whiteys. How about that? So these Skyclaves were military bases, government headquarters, and small cities that floated in the sky above each continent. Each Skyclave was built around a central power source like a miniature sun, designed as dozens of floating platforms that could close tightly into a sealed hollow sphere for defense. When in that spherical form, they were collectively referred to as the 7 Dragon Balls. Just kidding, they called them Death Stars. And then there was the great fall of the Skyclaves. Dun dun dun! I'm pretty sure somebody flew a TIE fighter in and then shot a... Okay, that joke's already gone. As the world endured centuries under the British Empire, sorry, I misread that again, Core's oppressive rule, the Empire's iron grip began to weaken. One by one, over the course of a century or so, the Skyclaves began to fall. The Royals swallowed the Gull Draws outpost and drowned it in a swamp because they clearly should have flew it a little bit higher. Measure twice, cut once, and hover high enough to avoid the Royal. That's the golden rule of any construction project. The elves, who were, I think, racist assholes. Am I on the right plane? I don't know, that might have been a different plane. Anyway, the elves of Balaged, led by a pre-spirit Ubun. What the hell is a pre-spirit? Anyway, they revolted against their core rulers and toppled their Skyclave with their obnoxious, stupid, bullshit elf ball decks. Ever since then, they have been referred to by the core as the assholes of Balaged. So a sea monster dragged the Marasa Skyclave into the sea, civil war tore the Empire in half, and the Andu Skyclave turned into the last big capital of the Makindi. Wait, who's the Makindi? Is that like a 4th name now? I'm sure they're referring to the core, but anyway, the city was destroyed, and its lands transformed into the trenches, and the Skyclave fell into the Jawar Isle. Sucks for anybody living there. As the Empire crumbled, the Kargan tribes, whoever the hell they are, mastered the dragons of Akum and rode them to victory against the core, shattering the Akum Skyclave. Yeah, you don't want to mess with no dragons. And then the Archangel Iona destroyed the Tazim Skyclave, creating the Skyrune of Ameria. If she destroyed it, how is it still floating as a Skyrune? That's unless they mean it ironically, like, Skyrune, and it's on the ground because it used to be in the sky and now it's runes. The last Skyclave to fall was the one over Sejiri. When the notorious band of 3 Stooges, Soren, Nahiri, and Ugin, came up with the brilliant and definitely didn't backfire idea of luring the Eldrazi to Zendikar to trap them, one of the Eldrazi Titans appeared in Sejiri and destroyed the Skyclave with a thoughtless flick of a tentacle. Thoughtless? thoughtless. Okay, Emrakul don't do no accidental tentacle. She bitch slapped that thing out of the sky, all right? That was on purpose. She's like, what's this? This is ugly. Poop, slap, gone. It's just like a cat climbing across a bookcase. Just, this candle that you like so much, gone. It's in my way. Goodbye. Oh, your cell phone that's charging? Bye. Oh, this cup of water that you were half done drinking? I threw it on the ground. So the last shattered sphere of the last Skyclave was encased in polar ice and later dug up by Stargate SG-1 and used to fight off. I actually don't remember, that was one of the later seasons, but someone. Was it Anubis? I think it was Anubis. Not important. That's way, way, way later in Zendikar history. When Iona descended from Emeria to battle the Eldrazi, she left the Skyrune unguarded. Wait, is the Skyrune and Emeria the same thing? I don't know, whatever. So apparently, they broke that one pretty good, but I guess it's probably still in the sky, and I guess they just lowered the rent and got some low-budget tenants and were like, let's keep this place rolling. So Iona's like, I'm going to live there, okay, until the Eldrazi showed up. She's like, let's go deal with this. So in the wake of the Eldrazi's fall, an expedition of adventurers ascended through the runes and discovered the remnants of the Skyclave, which the merfolk had once claimed was the castle of their goddess. Wait, does that mean it's not in the air? We still don't know if this is in the air. I'm sure somebody knows, but I don't. In the course of their exploration, they triggered the magical defenses of the ancient Skyclave and awakened the other 6. Whatever their state of ruin and disrepair, which Emrakul slapped the shit out of one of them, all 7 Skyclaves rose back up into the air. Oh, so it was on the ground, because they said all 7, and then it said woke 6, and so it would be including itself. Okay, anyway. Above every continent, people looked to the sky and saw shattered fragments of Cyclopean runes. What does Cyclopean means? The Kors / McKindy / Andu / British Empire built them, not the Cyclopeans. Whoever they are. Wait, is that like an actual word? Cyclopean, an adjective meaning of or characteristics of the Cyclops. So, the Cyclops didn't build them. Okay, they're just making words up at this point. Anyway, the shattered fragments of the, I'm sure, formerly nice Death Stars were slowly drifting around among the clouds. Each broken fragment in the air had taken on its own distinctive character. The broken and scattered pieces of the Akum Skyclave are uniquely individual sky dungeons inhabited by the various monsters of the continent. At least one is a dragon's lair. A video game which completely sucked. Parts of the sealed Marasa Skyclave flooded while it was beneath the ocean waves, but other parts have only recently been exposed to the environment. But the irrepressible growth of Marasa has quickly covered all ruins in dense foliage. The discovery of the Skyclaves, okay, that's a little you looked up and you're like, oh shit, that stuff's floating again. That's not a discovery, that's just you looking up and being like, oh, what's that, UFO? Anyway, that amazing, brave discovery of the Skyclaves has set off an excited furor among the expeditionary houses of Zendikar. Oh, they said it. They said the word expedition again. I'm so excited. The adventurers who first breached Emeria returned with powerful magical weapons crafted by ancient stone forgers, and they formed the nucleus of the new Seagate Expeditionary House. But adventurers around the world are eager to explore the new Skyrunes and plunder their treasures. They hope to come back with even more valuable treasures that they can sell on these expeditions, because the Seagate Expeditionary House is getting their ass absolutely kicked by better development of solid-state drives, which they refuse to believe would ever undercut their main business. Good job, Kodak 2.0, you morons. Send me back my 8TB under warranty, you dicks. Anyway, while many of the falling Skyclaves were successfully evacuated, they were not devoid of life. Must have sucked for whoever's living on it when they landed then. They contained insects, vermin, and even experimental subjects. As the centuries passed, these creatures survived and evolved, preying on the magical energies of the Skyclaves and each other. Perhaps due to this magic, many of these creatures have taken on patterning that resembles the decorative etchings inside the Skyclaves. Due to the lack of natural light in the runes, a common adaptation is low light vision, or in many cases, no vision at all. These creatures' other senses have been enhanced, many able to hunt based on smell or sound alone, and I think we've all seen that movie about 30 times over. As you can see, quite a bit is going on in the skies above Zendikar. Let's move our attention back to the ground. See, that's the problem. They said centuries later, and then, about 100 years later. But are we up to present time yet or not? Did this happen during BFZ, before BFZ, after the first one, the Rise of the Eldrazi, between the two? So annoying! So then they say the reconstruction of Seagate. No, they're going bankrupt. Don't even try. So a bunch of the different factions came together with their own plans that unsurprisingly favored themselves. About how to rebuild the Seagate, which is like the big ass capital city of Zendikar, basically, sort of, kinda. Wait a minute. I thought that they said the Royal came and destroyed anything that resembled a city way too often, so you couldn't have those. Why the hell does a Seagate exist then? To which I'm sure Wizards would say, it's magic, I ain't gotta explain shit. If the left knew how to use memes, which they don't. So introduce the Mary Sue to end all Mary Sues, General Tazri, where she's like, I'm not just amazing at commanding a military and a brilliant military strategist, but I'm also really good at city planning because I played the Age of Empires HD remake and Fallout 4. So her proposal was really good. They just needed to get the majority to agree with her. So Linvala was fed up with the other angels doing nothing to help anyone ever, which, welcome to Zendikar, flew to Seagate to offer her services. And she told them, seriously, just stop building hybrid bullshit and just buy a flash manufacturing company or build your own fab or something. Y'all gotta get on this flash technology shit. And also, she promoted General Tazri's proposal to the people. The word of an angel swayed even the stingiest Expeditionary House, because didn't one of the angels destroy one of the Sky Havens? So anyway, through coercion and vote manipulation, Linvala forced everybody to agree with General Tazri's plan. The next section is titled The Seagate Expeditionary House, who I assume are on an expedition to find out why they're getting their ass kicked so badly by flash technology. Prior to the initial fall of Seagate, 5 expeditionary houses used the city as a launch point for regular excursions into the wilds. Named for the destinations of their first expeditions, they are the Valakut House, the Palaka Foundation. Really, foundation? What is it, a non-profit? It probably is, knowing them. And then the rest are just the Akum, the Marasa, and the Balagad expeditionary houses. Wait, so Valakut House, Akum, Marasa, and Balagad expeditionary houses, and then the Palaka Foundation. I bet it was a tax dodge. I'm just throwing it out there. I ain't accusing nobody, but I'm just saying that sounds like a tax dodge. Each maintains hostels in various settlements, serving as resources for adventurers and explorers who need to hire guides or purchase supplies. Since the rise of the Skyclaves, focus has shifted to a new house called the Seagate Expeditionary House. The house is made up of the best, brightest, and toughest of Zendikar's adventurers and plays a key role in the new mechanic that's obviously everybody working together, the different classes, and yeah, okay. And instead of solving their problems with war, they just sit down and play some D&D. It's only not a PvP game if you make it not a PvP game, just saying. It was founded by a British woman, core woman named Ksenia, a veteran explorer who led the first expedition into the Tazim Skyclave, known as the Skyrune of Emeria, after Yona abandoned her guard post to fight the Eldrazi. Well, didn't she go back? Like, how, that was like weeks. Oh, gee, our entire plane is under attack by the Eldrazi, but Iona's not home, so let's go rob her house. Deep within its treacherous rune, she found a collar-like necklace inlaid with the opalescent red gems. Oh yeah, that's the necklace of fireballs. Those are really nice. My rogue uses them. He just chucks them into fireball. What's up? I don't care if it's DC 15. Y'all getting torched. And when she got absolutely torched by a pyrotechnic mishap, as they put it, she found out that it gives an awe-inspiring degree of fire protection. I mean, yeah, just probably 100%. I mean, would 90% be awe-inspiring? It'd be awfully hard to tell if you're inspired by awe when your eyebrows got scorched off, so I'm going to say 100% would be an awe-inspiring degree of fire protection. She dubbed it the Dragon's Frill. Word of her triumph spread far and fast, drawing the attention of the benefactor who would soon fund the founding of Ksenia's own expeditionary house. So basically, hey, you're really good at treasure hunting. Screw the other 5. Let's just make our own thing. And our house is going to have warriors, and it's going to have clerics, and it's going to have wizards, and it's also going to have, what's the other one? Rogues. What about paladins and warlocks? Shut up, we only need 4. It's a party, shut up. But wouldn't it make sense to have a druid? Nope, we're going with the core 4. Pun very much intended. So unknown to virtually anyone, the benefactor of the newly formed house is Nahiri. I think we are in modern times now. I mean, why would they be giving us this much detail if it was just like a fill-in thing? Even though they were like, when the Eldrazi attacked. Well, they attacked, and then they were trapped, then they were let loose, and then they were like semi-destroyed / trapped elsewhere? They were at least drawn away. From their point of view, they were drawn away to a different plane or whatever. Or like 2 of them were destroyed on Zendikar? I don't know. I kind of skipped that part of the lore. I don't know. Emrakul's coming back at the end of 2021. That's all I know. Just saying. And that should be right around the time that society completely utter collapses. Just kidding. That'll be November 4th, 2020. Bet that only made sense to Americans. I bet that only made sense to some Americans. Anyway, I just bought a Type 3A bulletproof vest and some more armor-piercing rounds for my AR-15. As did Nahiri, because she just started the new Nahiri and what's her face? Sorry, I forgot her name. Expeditionary House of Awesome Seagatitude. Though it lacks the historical renown of the older houses because it's about a week old, the Seagate house has quickly established itself as a dominant force in the adventuring business. I gotta see it rolling up to town to like all the NPC shopkeepers and just be like, hey, we got some crap, you wanna buy it? Look at this, what does this do? This probably does something here, you wanna buy it? The Dragon's Frill alone brought both wealth and renown in staggering quantities. Hold up, you didn't actually sell it, did you? I mean, it saved your life from a pyrotechnic mishap once. If you're gonna go and adventuring, make sure like, your lead person, has it. Whatever, they probably sold it to fund, like, infinitely more equipment. I don't know. But now adventurers flock from far and wide seeking placements on Seagate-led expeditions. All applications must be size 14 Arial font, complete with a cover letter and references. With such demand, Ksenia can afford to be picky in who she takes on. Thus, despite its short existence, Seagate employs most of the most skilled and daring adventurers on all of Zendikar, according to their resumes. Naturally, this leads to a higher rate of success on their expeditions, bringing in yet more resources, which in turn attract more powerful adventurers. So success begets success, and the Seagate house grows ever more powerful. As more skyclaves are discovered, seriously, they're floating. Just look up. My God, it's not that difficult. They said that they started floating, and everybody on the place was like, "Oh, there they are again. They're right there in the sky." Like, how much discovering do you got to do? There they are. That's like, oh, we just discovered the Goodyear blimp above an NFL game. Really, did you? Everybody must have missed that. You must be the first one. But then there's the vampires. Zendikar's vampires were created many centuries ago by a magical infection that originated from the Eldrazi. Really? And enslaved them to Ulamog's will. Really? That doesn't sound like a very Ulamog thing to do. Weird. I mean, that's barely an Emrakul thing to do. With the Eldrazi sealed away, I thought 2 of them were dead and 1 of them was sealed away. I don't know, who knows. The vampires slowly built a civilization centered on the continent of Goldraz, which obviously led to the development of the Seagate nuclear program, because seriously, I hate vampires and so does everybody in Seagate. So the memory of their ancient masters faded into fragmentary legend, a distant notion that they are survivors of oppression and slavery. Oh, 2 favorite SJW words. I'm so oppressed in my rich mansion. My rich parents pay for my apartment so I can go protest, and I'm so oppressed. With the reemergence of the Eldrazi Titans, which now I know they're talking about BFZ, all of the vampire society was thrown into chaos. A beacon of psychic and destructive energy called the vampires into the Titan Ulamog's awful presence at the heart of Balagad. Really? I really should read up on that lore. Driven by their distant memories of oppressive servitude, however, many vampires resisted the will of their alien creator. This led to a brutal and costly civil war. Good, the more dead vampires, the better. Although they're technically, I guess, already dead, but maybe not in this lore. I don't know. Why do vampires spontaneously show up well, not spontaneously, but coincidentally, I believe would be the right descriptor, show up on, like, every plane? I mean, we actually learned how the vampires were created on Ixalan, and it wasn't the Eldrazi's doing. But then they're also on Innistrad, and I don't remember how they landed there. So the dumbasses who fell under the Eldrazi Titans' thrall annihilated most of those who resisted the Titans' control, which is weird because they were clearly weaker, and that makes no sense. But Drana and the House of Kalastraya were the focal point of vampire resistance to the Eldrazi. As the only survivor of their first generation of vampires and the last living blood chief, Drana holds unquestioned leadership over vampire society and owns a 65% controlling share in all of their Hot Topic franchises. In a desperate attempt to repopulate vampire society, Drana is trying to discover the means to create new blood chiefs, since only a blood chief can create a new vampire. Okay, so apparently vampires work a little differently on this plane. I kind of suspected. Well, they'll just go to another plane, grab some vampires, and bring them back. Wait, no, I've got a way better idea. Why don't they all just drop dead because I hate vampires? There's an idea. What happens next? The stage has been set, but what show shall unfold? Well, if you haven't heard, Zendikar Rising marks the return of the highly requested web fiction. Oh, I hadn't heard that. Actually, I only read 3/4 of this. For the next few weeks, we'll be posting 2 stories a week. Oh, good lord. So leave a comment. Do you actually want this dumbass lore stupid series parody crap to continue? Because it got shit for views before, but I thought it was funny. So anyway, every week it'll be 1 chapter of the main Zendikar Rising story and 1 side story. Oh, you can have fun with those. Highlighting a legendary creature from the set. Please tell me there's like a legendary otter again. Oh wait, was it legendary last time? Maybe legendary in name only. That otter was pretty dope. Anyway, once their cards have been spoiled, we'll post an article with lore details on every single legendary creature in the set. The commander decks too. Oh, that's right. Aren't they not doing planeswalker decks, but they're doing like commander decks? But they're literally commander decks and they're not standard legal, which is deeply confusing because they're in the same world at the same time with the same lore and some of the same character crossovers. And also they're not legal in Brawl, which makes even less sense. Unless I'm wrong, maybe they were legal in Brawl, but then the commander decks are also standard constructed legal, which I feel like if that was the case, I would have said something about that during the announcement because that would be batshit crazy. I don't even know. Who cares? I've already given up on standard before they even showed one card from Zendikar Rising because the standard 2021 queue is such complete ass cancer. And the most obnoxious deck by far, I don't know, Mutate's pretty close, is definitely Mill. And they just made Mill worse with this stupid fucking set. So I ain't looking forward to a damn thing except for the lore. So, maybe I will cover it no matter what you guys say. Ha, tough titties. Don't watch it if you don't like it. Or do I need the money? Seriously, that bulletproof vest was like $200. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the November 4th peaceful protests.